Hello. Hi. There you go. Hi. How are you? Welcome to today's live event. I'm so excited about today too. Um, we're talking about AI, artificial intelligence, and how to unlock, the power of this, massive source of information, okay, to enhance our language, our personal skills, to be successful, of course. Maricela, so nice to have you here. So cool. Well, guys, if you're around, just say hi to know that you're here. If you have any questions, of course, regarding AI, just drop them in the chat. I will be, paying attention to everything. Okay. And as you see here, we have a really interesting guest today. He's called Bala. And let me say hi. Okay.
Hello,
Hi.
Gabby. It's
Hi,
great to be
Bala.
here.
So nice to have you. It's a pleasure for us to have you here. Okay?
Thank you for having me here. I'm excited about it. This is a
Abs-
subject I'm very passionate about, so I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. Me too. Absolutely. Julia, so nice to have you. So nice to have you live. Okay. So Bala. I mean, guys, this is such an important, person in the, IT world. Bala is the founder and the CEO of Get Me. For those who are in our free speaking club, who are in my membership, who are in my community, you know what we're talking about. Get Me is an amazing app that is AI that help us, like learn, communicate, practice our English, etc. Okay, so this is an English language and communication coaching AI platform. Okay, because it's an app, but it's like a coach too. Okay, but Bala will tell us about that later. Okay. This is interesting because as an adult refugee migrant from Sri Lanka, without any qualifications or English language skills, he taught himself English, and I love this part because sometimes people are like, "Oh, I need this, perfect teacher or this perfect course," but you did it yourself, right? So it is also possible, to be an independent learner. Okay. So he taught himself English and found a way to get into university to study computer science. So this is why, the app and the AI, he is passionate about helping people improve communication skills so they can, let me see, can you hear me? Yes. Yeah, so they can get their full potential, okay, which is amazing, especially in this, professional setting. We met like I don't know, almost a year ago, I think, because we were networking, and it has been an amazing opportunity for me to learn about the app and how this app can, help our students improve their communication skills, their pronunciation, etc. So that's enough from me. Bala, welcome. Can you tell us a little more about you?
Well, Gabby, that was a fantastic intro. Thank you so much for having me. Hello, everybody. I'm joining you from Melbourne, beautiful Melbourne, Australia. Good morning
Yes.
to all of the participants from the APAC region, and good afternoon if you're joining from Latin America. I'm really excited about this event because of two parts. I'm excited about AI and the technology aspect of what can be achieved using AI technology. The second part is personal because I have been, like Gabby said, a refugee migrant without any language or communication skills, coming to Australia, trying to rebuild my life, trying to communicate in English, trying to learn all of the basics so I could consider rebuilding my life. So that was possible because I realized communication and language skills were going to be absolutely essential. So a lot of the concepts that we will talk about in terms of how AI can be applied to language learning and communication, and the Get Me AI. That's what I'm doing right now for work, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
passionate about that. But my name is Balendran, but people call me Bala. My background is technology and startups. Get Me is my fourth startup. After finishing uni, after learning to speak English through real difficult methods like sticking English language words on my bedroom wall and listening to radios and reading newspapers and trying to learn to converse initially, and then managing to go to uni to do a computer science degree. Back then, platforms like MySpace and Google were coming out. So I thought internet and information technology was the way to go to build a career. So I ended up finishing a computer science degree. Since then, I have been mostly in startups, building and launching products that were helping people and enterprises. My first startup was a point of sale system startup. I looked at some of the smaller to medium supermarkets and how they were doing their accounting, and how they were managing their customers using hard books and things like that. And I realized they didn't have the budget to pay for a system that was being built by IBM, companies like IBM, that was going to cost them $100,000. So
Yeah.
I saw a gap, and I built a system that did the same thing, but at $5,000 a piece. So I sold that to 20 supermarkets. But I immediately realized building a business isn't about writing a software or building a product. You got to have all of the business knowledge and experience and people to support you to build and grow and sustain a business. After 2 years, it got a bit too much for me, so I gave it to another technology company and tried to build another system that was going to be the local version of eBay.
Mm-hmm.
Failed miserably because the system didn't do what I wanted it to do. It was going to cost more money, so I gave up on that, and eventually ended up going to work for enterprises because I realized I had to get that experience to
Mm-hmm.
succeed in my next venture. So I went and worked for some government agencies, telecommunications companies, and then years later, I realized my calling was in startups because I was an entrepreneur, so I was always going to be that person that created systems and try to help people. So I ended up linking with Phil and Emil to build a company called Blue Dot Innovation here in Melbourne. We built that company from nothing to now multiple people and multiple countries. That company is still growing. But at the start of the pandemic, I realized my experience
Mm-hmm.
tells me that people are coming to countries like Australia, going to US and
Yes.
Western countries. They also have the same challenges that I had almost 20 years ago. Right? So the English language learning and communication skills are
Mm-hmm.
hard to learn. So if we build tools to help people meaningfully, we could really fast track that process, because it took me 12 months to learn to communicate in a basic manner, right? Conversational.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought AI could play a part if we built a tool that analyzed how people communicated and coached them into better communicators. Then the AI becomes a powerful coach that
Yes.
can empower people and give them the tools to build the skills that are hard to build. Because I realize hard skills can be taught and learned quickly. You can go and do a course to learn to
Mm-hmm.
build a machinery or develop software, but communication skills and presentation skills and language skills are hard to build. That's why I started Get Me, and we're starting to make some serious waves. We're working with some government agencies, private schools, language schools, and other RTOs. That's how I ended up connecting with Gabby for English Priority, and we're excited about the work we are doing within the community. So that's a little bit about me. Please type your questions into the chat box. We want it to be a interactive and engaging event. Otherwise, it's going to be dry, us talking about AI. Please type your questions into the chat box and we'll answer as we go along. It's great to
Yeah.
be here, Gabby.
Absolutely. Thanks to you. Some people are saying hi. Danielle is saying hi. He's also a student, a member of our community. Julia, we're going to see your picture, but that's Julia. And then we have Maricela too. So it's so nice to have you all guys here. And actually, like last weekend, we will talk about the app later. But last weekend on Saturday, we had this membership, practice, pronunciation practice because we're working with vowels, and they were practicing with the app. So it was a pretty, like interesting way to practice and very helpful, for them. So Nemrod, welcome. So nice to have you too. Okay, now obviously I have to ask you because you were working with startups before, right? And IT, but why AI? Why creating an app with artificial intelligence? Was it so difficult? Was it, like a challenge to you? And why do you think AI is such a hot topic at the moment? I mean, why is everyone talking about it? All companies are interested or are already using AI. They are introducing their teams to AI, etc. Why is that?
That is a very interesting question, Gabby. AI as a field has been evolving for a number of years because ChatGPT has come out and allowed people to go and interact with it. So that's kind of made AI mainstream. A lot of people are excited about, the chat engine, ChatGPT, because that meaningfully exposes an AI functionality to the masses. But the AI field has been evolving since the 50s, right? So we built smart systems or expert systems that were large data processing systems that were mimicking AI. And then we built some AI models and tried to mimic how the real world works, right? Through technological models. So that the AI field has been going through evolutions for a number of years. But back then, we couldn't build systems like ChatGPT or Get Me AI because the data wasn't there. As you can imagine, an AI system requires enormous amounts of data for it to work. So if the data isn't good or if the quality isn't good, then the AI isn't going to output anything meaningful. The reliability won't be there. The accuracy won't be there. So the three things that have actually accelerated what happens at the moment in the AI field. Number one is that we have generated a lot of data as a collective, as the
Got it.
digital users and internet users. We have generated a lot of data. Research shows that we have generated in the past 3 years much more data than the previous 10 years combined. So
Wow.
that's the scale we are talking about. That's partly because of COVID as well, because people got locked down and they
Hmm.
connected, with others through social media and viral platforms, contributed to that. But the data is a major part of why the AI is starting to work the way it's working right now. Number two is investment. You
Okay.
hear lots of money flowing into AI innovation, both private venture capital and public
Mm-hmm.
funding from the government, and enterprises are investing into tools and innovation. So that's number two. So number one is data, enormous amounts of data
Okay.
generated. Number two is funding. So, as you know, Microsoft has invested billions of dollars into ChatGPT
Yes.
because they see the future of AI through, ChatGPT kind of generative AI, where
Mm-hmm.
they're starting to generate content that's very similar to human. Not quite there, but it can look like a human is responding to questions. And the number three is the technological advancement. So to run AI models, you need really good computing capacity. So the cloud
Okay.
computing and some of the technology that has come in to support the heavier AI. Things like GPU, they weren't around back then. So technological advancements now contributing to the AI's, evolution, the new phase of evolution. So that wasn't possible before. So now you're starting to see smart chat engines like Chat GPT emerge into the
Yes.
market. That's where Get Me is as well. We couldn't build Get Me 10 years ago, but we could
Mm-hmm.
build at the start of 2020 because all those three things have come together. We are backed by venture capital funds and angel investors and high net worth individuals who've come on to support the Get Me's development and commercialization. So I'm excited to be here. So the AI is exploding in popularity
Yes.
because ChatGPT has made it mainstream. So that's
Mm-hmm.
where people are getting excited. Now they can see how a tool like ChatGPT can improve productivity, help people become more effective in their work, across all of the different industries.
Awesome. Yeah, you're right. Now, we can talk about that later, but just to leave the question here, what else is AI? Because it's not only ChatGPT, it's like everyone is talking about that, but that's not all, right? That's not the only, resource tool that we have to be in contact, with this AI. So we can talk about those, different platforms later. Another interesting question is how significant is AI in a professional setting? I mean, we're on LinkedIn. I'm working with professionals. You are working with professionals. So, why is AI relevant, significant? How is it being used lately in the professional setting?
That's a really good question, Gabby. In a professional setting,
Mm-hmm.
if you're talking about a workplace, a school, a
Mm-hmm.
university, there are different applications for AI. But at the end of the day, it comes down to how AI can increase productivity, help the team bond better, how they can collaborate effectively. At the end of it all, AI is a tool to add value to the business or add value to an individual. If the AI tools are not doing that, then technology in itself doesn't mean
Yes.
anything, right? So that's where I think in the professional environment, there are a range of applications now. You would see customer service being taken over by some smart chat engines that can respond to questions and become a bit more smart, not respond with the fixed answer, but it can analyze
Mm-hmm.
the context and respond to the question meaningfully. And personalized learning and skills development is huge in enterprises, right? Because
Yes,
you want to
of
make
course.
sure we have tools that support everyone's learning needs and is
Mm-hmm.
personalized, because that's where the power of the technology is. If you can understand meaningfully where I need help and help me improve in those areas, that's very powerful. That's impactful. That's where I think most of the gain would come from. And that's where Get Me is going to be an effective tool as well, because we deploy AI to understand where an individual needs help and then coach them through a personalized coaching program.
I love it. So, what would you say to a manager? I don't know if you want to convince them, to show them the importance of implementing, AI in their teams. I mean, what would it be important, for a manager or a director or a C-level, executive professional, to implement or use AI in their teams?
I think it's the awareness that's lacking, Gabby. I think the apprehension about AI and its reliability and the
Yes.
trustworthiness. I think there are certain barriers that are still
Mm-hmm.
in place. So if the managers become aware of the tools, also understanding the risk and having mitigation strategies to deal with those risks will be important. But I think it's the awareness and the understanding of, you know, what AI can bring to their team if they, allowed it to integrate into the processes and learning programs. That's going to be enormously valuable. I think we got to educate the team
Yes.
managers and leaders within
Right.
organizations. Okay, now the trust issues can go away once you trial it, get some users to use it, and hear their feedback, because these technologies are going to continue to evolve. As you can imagine, the investment is flowing in really steadily. So tools like ChatGPT and GetMe would continue to evolve because of the technological advancements and the feedback we're hearing from the users. Right.
Yeah.
So it's about removing those barriers so the leaders can
Yes.
start to adopt.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Look at this. I'm going to share my screen very quickly just for a while. So people get an idea of what Get Me is, because those who work with me, they already know what the app is all about because we have talked about it. But for those who are watching the replay, or those who are here but you don't know what we're talking about, we're talking about this app that is called Get Me, and we're going to talk a little bit more about the app now. So, how can artificial intelligence in general improve language and communication learning? How can, this app, as an example, how can this app help our community to learn and improve their communication skills?
AI for language and communication learning is really exciting. When we started Gabby, at the start of 2020, I did a lot of market research to find out if there are other companies doing anything similar. There were a ton of language learning apps powered by AI.
Mm-hmm.
Duolingo was there, and so was some of the other early stage language teaching apps. So you can find a ton of language learning apps in the market that are powered by AI. But Get Me looks at language teaching and communication end to end, like a
Okay.
holistic view of how we can actually analyze someone's communication habits, not just the way they're using a language to communicate, but all of
Mm-hmm.
the different areas of communication, right? Vocabulary, energy,
Yes.
the frequency of words, common words they're using, filler words, and how fast they're speaking, energy levels, emotions. They
I
are
love it.
critical for communicating successfully. A lot of people don't even know. They think, yeah, if I know English, I can communicate. Communication is much more than language, as you can imagine, right? There's a lot of
Yes.
nonverbal cues that come into play. So an AI like Get Me looks at communication skills as a holistic thing. We try to analyze some of the patterns. We all have
Mm-hmm.
certain filler words we use. We all have energy patterns. We get excited sometimes, but not so
I love
excited
that.
other times. So it tries to build a profile for the user, looking at all of the different aspects of how they communicate, and then
Mm-hmm.
it uses certain rules to work out where they need to improve and then personalize the learning. Say, for example, if my
Yes.
energy isn't good, if my
Mm-hmm.
energy is low, the AI would notice that over a period of time. I'll show you through a demo how that works. And then it would recommend videos, it would give them practice lessons. It's all about then addressing that gap. If my pronunciation isn't good with certain sound, or if I'm not enunciating words clearly, then I'll get tasks that are personal to me to go and practice and improve in those areas. I think that's where the opportunity is, because a tool like AI, for coaching is not going to be that useful if you can't personalize the teaching and coaching, because
Mm-hmm.
generic kind of teaching, as you know, doesn't have a lot of value. If,
Yes.
as a user, if I'm hearing, where I need to improve, and if I get a personalized journey to go through and improve in that area, then the tool
Mm-hmm.
is extremely powerful. That's what we're trying to do through AI, but that's at the beginning of our journey right now. But in the coming months and years, the tool is going to become a lot more powerful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And what I like about this, process, since you started the app, is that, and since we started, like collaborating, is the fact that you really care. I mean, as a team, you all really care about, like the students and the user. It is a very user friendly app, and you're always, like with this follow up, like how is the app doing? Do you have any suggestions? Is there anything we can do to improve? You know, and I think that's wonderful, especially for our students, because we all have different needs and we all have different interests. So having this, awareness of the students, context and reality is extremely helpful. Now, we were talking about, AI in language and communication. Now, because I have students, what would you suggest students do differently? I mean, what would you suggest them to do differently from what they normally do as a daily practice, or if they, like have some habits for studying and things like that?
That is an excellent question, Gabby. I think about it a lot, especially with AI coming to the forefront. We know it's going to replace certain jobs. The automation is
Mm-hmm.
going to be a thing, whether
Yes.
you like it or not.
Yep.
Across the different industries, certain jobs are going to be replaced, but that's okay because we want the tools to, add value by creating efficiencies. But for
Mm-hmm.
students right now who are learning English language or other degrees for work, the only thing I would suggest is that hard skills are going to be replaced, right?
Yes.
So if you're a software developer, sometime in the future, that job is going to be replaced because already ChatGPT can code better than I can in some areas. So those jobs are going to be automated to an extent or completely. So I would suggest students who are learning to, speak a language, in this case English, or learning to communicate, to focus on soft skills. So
Yes.
some of the skills that are harder for machines to learn and replicate. So this is a cognitive capacity that we have that the machines don't have yet. So
Yep.
start thinking about your presentation skills, your communication, and how you relate to others and connect with others, right? Because that is going to be essential. What we're seeing through years of research is that communication skills and
Mm-hmm.
interpersonal skills matter much more than technical skills. Number one, it's really hard to get because you have to be committed and you have to be consistent with your practice to build those
Yes.
skills, and it takes time,
Yeah.
right?
Patience.
Hard skills are easy to get, as you can imagine, Gabby. I can go and do a
Mm-hmm.
course to become a, carpenter, become a software developer, whatever that is. I can
Yeah.
get those skills, and then I'll learn on the job. But
Yeah.
with soft skills, it takes dedication, it takes effort, it takes time. That's why it's hard. So I would recommend students to start looking at all of their soft skills, how they're presenting, how they're communicating, how they're actually connecting with others, because that's going to be valued much more than soft skills. We're seeing
Mm-hmm.
20 to 30% improvement. We're looking at data from the Get Me app, 20
Yes.
to 30% improvement over a period of 3 months in terms of communication clarity and how people are articulating ideas. So there is a really good benefit to using technology, but it comes down to, as you said, practicing consistently, keeping on top of your practice. What we hear from
Mm-hmm.
students is that if they spend 10 minutes a day working
There
on
you
their
go.
pronunciation and clarity over a 3 months period, they're seeing 20% improvement. So it comes down
Yes.
to how consistent you are with your practice. Like anything in
Mm-hmm.
life, technology is a tool that can assist, but at the end of the day, you have to put in the time and practice. So
Yes.
focus on the soft skills.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And I would add focus, that you know what you're doing, why you're doing it, right? That you have a focus, you have an intention, right? It is some people call it intentional practice. Is like if you're doing something, you need to be aware of why you're doing it, what is, like the purpose of that, practice, etc. And that's very helpful. I mean, the app, from my perspective as a teacher, is very useful because I work with business English, and then I can help them focus on business, on business vocabulary, because nowadays it's so easy to get distracted by anything, right? But then if you focus your practice, if you're intentional with your practice, it is going to be a lot more, meaningful, right? And helpful. Now, these are the positive sides of AI. Now, what are some of the risks of using AI, and what should be done to manage them, to manage those risks?
So when we're talking about risk with AI, some of the technological risks with any systems that exist,
Mm-hmm.
in the world, they apply to AI as well. But AI specifically comes with two major risks that companies and people who are adopting AI must know. So if the AI isn't trained using, impartial data, broad enough data, then the AI is going to be biased, right? So you hear about different biases because the AI hasn't been trained with diverse set of data. The
Mm-hmm.
other thing is that, privacy and ethic side of things are still being analyzed because these systems are evolving so rapidly. I think we're kind of falling behind in
Yes.
terms of how we standardize the AI development and training of the different systems within the AI. So the data is critical. So if you're
Mm-hmm.
training a AI that makes judgments about who to hire based on what it sees, then it's going to be trained using a lot of data covering the different cohorts of people that we have in the world, different kinds of
Yeah.
people. If it's not trained properly with enough data, then it's going to have those biases. That's not going to be good. And the other thing is that these systems are so advanced and advancing fast. We don't want to
Mm-hmm.
leave people behind.
There
Equal
you go.
access is going to be a risk. People who are less technically educated, you don't want them to fall behind. So educating and taking everyone along the journey is going to be critical as well, because some people would have natural reluctance to adopt technology like AI. So it's about educating them and giving them
Yes.
also access to the tools. In countries like Sri Lanka and India, developing parts of the world, people still don't have access to the internet, for example. So they're going to be left behind. So it's about
Absolutely.
providing equal access and managing some of the risk, and how we standardize, how do we now regulate systems such as ChatGPT and other smart AI engines, so they work within some parameters and they don't get out of control.
I love it. Yeah. Yeah, that's so true. And now that you're talking about it, let me just share with people, what Get Me is. That is an interesting question here regarding Get Me, and it is, what artificial intelligence models are being used by Get Me? How is it different to others? I mean, tell me about that, because it's like there are so many features. And I mean, I speak and it corrects my speech, and then it says you got 90%, you got 50%, you should work on this and this and this, and I'm like, how on earth an app can do that?
That is the beauty of an AI technology, Gabby, because as I said, it's been trained using a ton of data. So what that
Right.
means is that all of the models, we use different models, different AI models to power the various features within the app. And I show you the app, I'll take you through some of the different models. Say, for example, pronunciation is a
Mm-hmm.
different AI model. So that's a language model that understands how a word is pronounced, what the syllables are pronounced like. So it
Got it.
knows what the sound is like, and then it can then
Mm-hmm.
compare when you pronounce a word or when you read a sentence. It knows what the word or sentence would sound like, and then it can then give you feedback to correct errors. So that's pronunciation model. So exactly like I said, if the data isn't broad enough, it is not going to have the coverage. But the Get Me AI models have been trained with a lot of data, so it would have most of the words, most of the sounds already in there. But some sounds may not be there because they're unique, or there are some nuances that are specific to that local accent or whatever. That's not going
Mm-hmm.
to be there, but it's got a broader data awareness, so it will be able to correct most of it. And then the other model we use is for energy and emotion. They're different models. So, for example, if you're sounding sad, you sounding sad versus me sounding sad, they're two
Yes.
different sounds, right? But the AI knows what sad sounds like, you know,
Yeah.
or it knows how high energy sounds like. It's got benchmarks, and then over a period of time, it'll be able to say, "Hey, Bala is sounding sad, 50% of the time in this kind of conversations." And then we would try to then go, okay, what's the conversation about? What's the context before it starts recommending and sending me on a journey to fix my energy problem, for example. So we use different
Yes.
different data sets and different models within the various features, Gabby, as you can imagine. You can't use a model that only knows about energy to understand emotions. Therefore, they're different models, and they've been trained specifically using a large enough data set. So it knows about benchmarks, and then it also learns as the user uses the app more.
It's crazy. I mean, we were doing this exercise on Saturday, and I'm trying to show you, like a screenshot. And some of the students were practicing, like the sounds and the words and phrases that we were working on. And the app said something like, you know, uh, uh, anger, like the overall emotion of your reading of your sentence is anger. And I was like, wow. I mean, how on, I mean, that was crazy. For me, that was, like mind blowing, because it's how can an app uh, understand, like figure out that you are angry. I mean, that you're feeling in, like one way or another. So sometimes we don't even notice, from another person when the person is feeling, this way or that way. So that was crazy. Let me see if I can you see here. I don't know if you can see my screen, and if you can see, let me stop sharing and let me present again. So, and they were like, but I'm not angry. And I was like, yeah, but that's the intonation. And I was like, this is why intonation is so important. Maybe the intonation in your native language is not the same intonation that we should use in American English. So, if you don't have the appropriate intonation, it will sound like you are angry, even if you're not, right? So that is crazy.
Yeah, interesting, Gabby. And then there's a thumbs up or thumbs down button next to it as well. If the student doesn't agree with what the AI is saying, they can give the AI feedback. But most of
But
the time, what it's trying to do is to go, okay, um, are you sounding angry?
yes,
The other person is perceiving you as angry, right? Because
that
you
is
may
the
not, you may not
point.
be, yeah, you may not
Yes,
be sad, but the other person might be, receiving you as sad because of the
yes.
the tone or how you're presenting yourself.
Yeah, I agree. That's the point. It's like sometimes we think we are communicating effectively, but we are not, because we're not aware of this nuances you were talking about. We're not aware of this rhythm, musicality, intonation English has, right? That is absolutely different from Spanish, for example, from Portuguese, right? So if I speak with a very, strong Venezuelan accent, Americans may think that I'm angry because we're all, like excited and we raise our voice a lot. So I think that's a really interesting feature, the overall emotion, because it talks about you and the way you communicate. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so that's a good point, Gabby. And this isn't saying that you got to, essentially change the style of your
Hmm.
communication, but become aware of it. See, listen to
Yes.
what you're saying through the app, and see how you're
Hmm.
sounding, and that gives you the opportunity to
There
change.
you go. There you go. I agree. I absolutely agree. Okay, what else? What else can you tell us about the app?
Absolutely. I think at this stage I can quickly share my screen
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
show some of the features. It would only take 60 seconds to show some of the key features. I think that's going to be effective, more effective than me talking about what Get Me is. So I am going to present my phone screen, Gabby.
Uh-huh. Let me Okay. Are you sharing your screen?
Yep,
Oh, there you go. Awesome.
fantastic. Okay, so when users come onto the app, they get to see this dashboard screen. I'm going to quickly take you through some of the key features and what makes Get Me so special. So you mentioned, Gabby, pronunciation, vocabulary, energy, and
Mm-hmm.
emotions. So for example, I can call you now through the app and get coached while I'm on the call on things like my energy and how fast I'm
Wow.
speaking, if I'm sounding nervous, all of that,
I love it.
gets presented as feedback. So that's a real-time
Mm-hmm.
feedback engine. So the way it works is that as I'm using the app, the AI is trying to gauge my skill levels, my blueprint. What
Yes.
are my patterns? Am I using certain filler words? How fast I'm
Yes.
speaking? Do I have issues with certain sounds in my pronunciation? They all get
Mm-hmm.
measured. So the more the user uses the app, the more the AI discovers about their communication habits. That allows the AI to then personalize the learning based on what the individual needs. So, for
Okay.
example, if I so this is a phone conversation I had today. There's gamification as well. As the user uses the app, they get points and there's celebration. The idea is that you start discovering as you use
Mm-hmm.
the app more, get comfortable and make improvements. You progress through the spectrum. You gain more
Yes.
points, and eventually, someday in the future, you will become a master communicator. So very
Yes.
similar to what you presented. This is a report from my phone conversation. So it's telling me I have certain formal words I'm using. This was a 5 minute conversation I had with
Mm-hmm.
someone this morning. It tells me these are my frequently used formal words and some informal words at the bottom. This
Yes.
looks pretty good, and some informal words, and then what it classifies as rude words. So this is all bringing that awareness to the surface. Okay, I'm using. Oh damn! I said that a couple of times, and it's telling me I'm using a lot of informal words. That was an informal conversation. All of this gets metricized. So the idea is
I
that as I
love it.
go along, it's trying to
Mm-hmm.
measure how I'm communicating and where I need help. Right.
Okay.
And it's also picking up on all of the filler words I'm using, and then it's telling me that I can go and listen to that phone call to
Again.
understand how I performed on there. And then it's
Wow.
telling me about my energy level. That was intermediate, that was pretty accurate. And then my speech speed. So if I'm
Mm-hmm.
speaking more than 130 words per minute, I'm probably speaking too fast.
Absolutely.
So that's
Yeah.
kind of average. So that tells you whether you're speaking too slow or too fast.
Mm-hmm.
And then This is
This,
pretty cool.
so sorry for interrupting. This filler words, I think it's so important because as you know, when we are speaking, we're not aware of our fillers, you know, and when you see it in the app, and the app is showing you like several times, is like I have to work on that, right? So this
Absolutely.
this 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 is uh it's a way to like understand things that you're not aware of, right? So that's a very interesting feature there. I love it.
Absolutely. And then it also measures over a period of time
Mm.
how much reduction you have in the number of filler words. So if your filler words are decreasing, then you get points.
Yay, I
And
love
effectively, then
it.
over a period of time, it's not that you have to eliminate all of your filler words. It's about increasing the impact of your messages. If you
Yes.
use a lot of filler words, if you're using a lot of ums and ahs, and then
Mm-hmm.
messages are not going to connect with people.
Yes.
So the other feature I wanted to quickly show you is that interactive pronunciation. I think this is what's working for your community, Gabby, because
Mm-hmm.
they love to get the real-time feedback. The way
Yes.
it works is that I can speak into the app, pronounce a word or read entire sentences, and the real-time feedback would tell me which areas I need to work on. So if I now try to pronounce a word, amazement. This word I have been using a lot to demo, so I'm going to try another word that shows some kind of feedback. So as you can see, if you hold down the microphone icon and then speak
Mm-hmm.
into the app, the AI then recognizes what you're saying and then it gives you feedback. So let's try another word. Correction. I have issues with R sound because the R sound, particular
Mm-hmm.
variations of it, doesn't exist in Tamil. I speak Tamil at home, so it's picked
Mm-hmm.
up on that sound as problematic. It's telling me I'm trying to
I
focus
love
on.
that too. Can you show that again? Yeah, you see, it's like you have the different, sounds and the challenge that you had and what to do. Need to work on it more to pronounce sound clearly. Your tongue is. Oh, I love this. It's like it gives you everything.
Yeah, and then I can play and listen to how I pronounce it. And then the idea is that you repeat and get better while the AI is learning about where you need to improve,
Mm-hmm.
and then you would start getting tasks assigned to you. So
Yes.
if it sees that you've got issues with R sound, and then it's going to assign me a task with lots of R sounding words, and that
Yes.
allows me to then improve that sound.
Exactly. That's the point. And this is where focus is. You see, because sometimes we're practice pronunciation, but we don't know what we're practicing, right? It's like just words, random words. But then if you have feedback, you can focus on specific sounds, right? And well, in my case that I use it with our community, we are working on vowel sounds right now. So we have the long E and the short E. So when you practice with this app, it's very easy for them to notice, like, I'm not using the appropriate sound, I'm not using the appropriate vowel sound. So it's just amazing. Jonathan says, "Oh, great app! Congratulations!" Yes. I will assign you some homework to practice with the app, Jonathan. Okay.
Now that's awesome, Gabby. The last area is vocabulary. We all have
Mm-hmm.
a set of words that we use, but if I'm looking to promote myself in my work or
Yes.
at home, my vocabulary has to evolve. There's no two ways about it. If you're trying to become a manager from a team member, then your vocabulary has to evolve
Yes.
because you got to use different kinds of words to not only sound professional and knowledgeable, but create concise messages and impactful
Yes.
messages. So that's critical. That's where the the vocabulary feature is good, the students or
Yeah.
employees get to choose which areas they want to add new words to, and then the AI
Mm-hmm.
then sends them words regularly and then also keeps track of their progress. And then there's a whole bunch of videos from
Videos. That's one of my favorite parts too.
yeah, coaching community, Gabby, thank you. The idea is that AI isn't going to teach people some of the human concepts, right? Empathy, for
Mm-hmm.
example, or compassion, and some of the subjective elements are hard for AI to teach. Therefore, we basically um, get the coaches to produce videos on those concepts, and then
Yes.
they get plugged into the AI. Say, for example, if I'm sounding anxious, for example, or I'm speaking too fast, then the AI is going
Mm-hmm.
to go, okay, so here's a video that teaches you about how to pace yourself and breathe deeply and,
Mm-hmm.
breathe out till the end of the sentence and all that kind of techniques will come through the video. But the AI focuses on automating some of the mundane coaching. You can go and practice the different aspects of your communication and then learn from our coaches as well. So the idea is that over a period of time, you would
Mm-hmm.
start to notice the difference. You would start to see how confident you sound because your
Yes.
clarity has now gone up,
Yeah.
right? So
Well,
what we're trying to do, Gabby, is to give people the tools so they
mm-hmm.
can actually practice and become better communicators for work, for life. We all have to improve
Yes.
as communicators,
Mm-hmm.
speakers of a language. So this is how we are trying to change the world, bit at a
Yay.
time, bit at a time.
Yeah. Look at this. We have a question. This app is a prototype or it is a final development?
This is the app has been in the market for now no, 8 months. We've got language schools, government agencies. It's live. It's certain parts of the app are
Mm-hmm.
improving and evolving. But yeah, we've got over 1,500 users on there right now. That's
Yeah.
starting to look
For
serious.
for those who are interested in getting the app, DM me your phone numbers and I will send you a link so you can download the app and you can access all the features in the app for free.
That was a tiny little demo to showcase what AI can do for language
Yes.
learners. There are other products like Duolingo and few other products that are there trying to teach people language, but we focus on AI for communication skills
Yes.
development, personal skills. So language is a key component, but
Mm-hmm.
our focus is on how people are communicating as opposed to what they're saying, right? So that's
Mm-hmm.
where we are quite different to some of the other products. So I'm glad that the messages are connecting with people, and we're seeing some good data from our user base as well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Is it only for free?
So if the student is part of your community, they get access to it for free through your license, Gabby. But
Mm-hmm.
there's a paid version on the App Store and Google Play, but with limited features. But if the students are part of your community, then they get it for free.
Yeah, so if you're interested, DM me, and I will give you access to the app. This is wonderful. And sorry, tell us about the content in general. How long does it take to, update the information? What about the pronunciation, the videos?
So the content has been produced by expert coaches, and we work with a philosopher at Macquarie Uni for the theoretical side of the work. After the market research, Dr.
Mm-hmm.
Govind and I work together on establishing the theoretical base for the product. Establishing some of the harder rules around how we work out where someone needs help and how we metricize
Yes.
certain elements. That all happened over a long period of time, but the content is coming from our expert coaches, and we've also got some English language experts who produce the content for the app. as you can imagine, the app is running on the phone. There's a control center on the web. That's where
Mm-hmm.
we can configure, the type of content that requires a particular audience. Say, for example,
Yes.
your free speaking club community members can be categorized into beginners, intermediary, and advanced, and then we can configure the app to support their learning, matching their level.
I love it. And content. This is what I was telling you about before. Like, I work with business. So for the ones that are in the business program, we can have specific content related to business. And then for job interviews, we have some specific content for job interviews so they can practice. This is incredible. Denise, thank you. This app is such an interesting tool. I'd rather use this to improve my English skill from now on. Yes, let's use it. Absolutely.
Oh my goodness, I'm feeling very emotional to hear this feedback, because this is the reason we created Get Me. A lot of it's got to do with my journey here in Australia,
Mhm.
but overall, we wanted to create a tool that help people change their lives. We see improving your communication by 1-2% can get you a bit more money at work, or
Yes,
another job, or a better partner, or whatever that is.
yes,
So we all deserve the best. We all want to achieve our full potential. So what we're trying to
hmm,
do is to give people that hope and tool sets
yes.
to go and work on the most important aspects of their communication.
And I love the fact that it was created by a non-native English speaker. It's like the process. You know how hard it is to learn a language. You know how complicated it is to find opportunities to practice and to improve. So it's wonderful that you decided to create this, you build this, and it's very useful. So guys, I don't know if you have any other questions. It is almost 8 p.m. here in Chile, but it's 10 a.m. there in Australia. Is that 10 a.m.? Is it 10
I'd
a.m.?
say, yep, it's coming up to 10, Gabby.
Yes. So, do you guys have any questions? There's a person here asking for the link. Absolutely, we will. Nadine, so nice to have you here. Jonathan, Nemrad, Daniel, Nadine Campbell, Maricela, so nice to have you. Aditya, so nice to have you. I will send you a link as soon as we finish here. Thank you so much for being here, guys. And Bala, thank you so much for being here with us, for sharing this app with me so I can share with my students too and help them, improving their learning process.
Thank you so much for having me. I had a lot of fun talking about AI, and talking about Get Me and why we are doing what we are doing. Thank you so much again. Please reach out to me or Gabby if you have more questions. We want to
Absolutely.
really come online and talk about AI, and what's happening in the field, and what's going to happen in the next 5 years. These are exciting times. So I'm glad that you're here and you're downloading the app to improve your communication skills. Please feel free to reach out to us if you have any further questions.
Absolutely. In the future, I suppose we're going to go live again because you are always, like updating the app and adding new features. So in the future, we will have another similar conversation. Thank you so much, Bala. Thank you, everyone, for being here. And I'll see you again next time with another interview. Remember, you can join our free club if you want to practice too. So you can get access to the app too. And Bala, thank you so much. Thanks to you and your team for preparing all of this live. And I'll see you again anytime soon.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks for having me. Gabby, I'll see you later.
Absolutely, Dunia. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you both of you. Absolutely, excellent app. So interesting. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Vala. See you anytime soon.
Thank
Bye
you.